Hello, everybody, and welcome to Answer the Call. Sorry for last week's absence, but my family was visiting in town, and we had a big get-together. My family and my girlfriend's family all getting together. It was really, really nice. So I appreciate your guys' patience, but we are back. Answer the Call. Today's topic is your Star Citizen setups with the Noobifier. We're going to talk about a couple other things, about what Noob's been up to, about Gimbal Assist as well. But as always, before we start the show, we will go with last week's recap. Now, it was obviously 2 weeks ago, but we talked about, is your Star Citizen sub worth it? And I think the general idea was that as a community, we're not really happy with the current content that's being pushed out. And but after this week's Answer the Call, I saw some really good improvements. I think the ATV with the caves was really great, obviously because it was something new and exciting. But the biggest, most important thing that I saw was the Banu Defender being pushed out and the way they handled it. They got ahead of the roadmap and explained that it's going to be pushed and why. And that no hysteria from the community. You know, obviously people were upset that it didn't make it, but they weren't having to speculate why it didn't make it, so on and so forth. I thought it was great. RTV was really cool as well. It was the Banu helmet being made on stream. I think those RTVs are great. They're not necessarily my cup of tea, but in general, I think that is the type of content that we're looking for. So, cool. Going into the comments from last week, we have Sethnix, who says, sometimes I really wonder what their marketing team is thinking. They, quote unquote, created shows like Calling All Devs because people didn't see the value in their subs anymore. After that, they canceled 10 for the chairman and made adjustments to the other shows. Now they canceled Calling All Devs for unknown reasons. ATV is now under 10 minutes. Obviously, this past, the post ATV was a little bit better, and kind of adjusted for new users, which is definitely happening, yeah. And they devalued the monthly flare to under $5 by themselves, and are probably starting to wonder why all the subs are starting to cancel their subscriptions again. And no, I don't think early PTU access is a valid sub perk. Okay, all valid opinions and everything. I hope they're taking, because not only did we talk about subscriptions, but the entire Star Citizen content creator community did after. It was originally brought up on Redacted by Zeus and Oxia, one of our mods here, and then in a question to WTFosaurus, who then went into like a rabbit hole, and then I thought it would be a really good Answer the Call topic. And then everybody started talking about it. And yeah, so Seth, I don't disagree with anything you're saying there. And I do think early P2 access is a valid sub perk to some people, may not be to others. And the weird thing is why make Calling All Devs and then cancel it and not really replace it with anything that may fit. So hopefully throughout the year they kind of figure that out and we see some more of it. And then our second comment is, and both, actually, if you didn't notice, that was from Reddit. So these are our first comments coming from Reddit. And this one is also from Reddit, from King Cheez-It. And this is pretty aggressive. I think a change of personnel and community content is required. The current bunch are completely out of ideas. The YouTube community, people with actual full-time jobs, me and Noobifier, to do themselves during the day, they create better video content in their spare time than the dedicated community and content team at CIG currently. And anyone saying there is nothing to show can bite me. Okay? 500 people, 4 studios, 2 full retail games of a scope never before seen, umpteen ships in several various states of development, sound, video, planets, AI, and all the other bullshit that's going into these games. Somebody has something to show in very little detail every week. This guy is mad. But it was one of the most upvoted ones, and I see the point he's trying to make. I think you could do it a little less aggressively. I don't necessarily think the community team needs to be changed. I think they just need to take a step back. And this is something that I said in the show, was, check your ego at the door, take a step back, look at the content you're making, and it'll probably be pretty decent. But I do agree with you. Nothing to show. 500 people, 4 studios, all those things you mentioned. I think the issue more is not nothing to show, but they're not comfortable with showing it in the state that it's in. Now, I think we would have been fine seeing caves in the earlier state than what we saw it in, right? But hey, when they gave us caves in last week's ATV was pretty awesome. So I think part of the problem why we don't like a lot of the content is that it's coming out in smaller chunks. And we're not seeing the boom, smack, in your face content like we did in previous years. Now, this one is from Retro Wrath on YouTube. He was throwing a little shade at me in the comments, but so like some of this comment may be like kind of pointed in direction to me. I actually asked him to clarify a little bit because I wasn't understanding him completely. But the end of this comment makes he makes the point that I could like absolutely agree with is 100% of the problem with a lot of the things that are going on with the community content. There are plenty of people willing to speak up and plenty of YouTubers shitting on Star Citizen on top of making money off of shitting on Star Citizen. I'm talking 100K views here. I feel Twerk is cherry picking. I'm not sure what he meant by that, so that's what I asked him to clarify on. I mean, anyone can pick negative comment out and say something bad or worse than it is, and then make money off of making a video about it. He just really doesn't like that I monetize my videos. I'm sorry, but I put a lot of work into it, and why not make a few dollars? And it really doesn't take much to hit skip ad on YouTube. I think the content has gotten less because we know more about the game now. This is where he gets into the meat and where I think this is such a great comment. I think the content has gotten less because we know more about the game now. More of the game is out. And we reached that saturation limit where people want more when there isn't as much as there used to be. The roadmap. The roadmap has come out and it has left no speculation possibilities out there for a lot of things. Like when you see the roadmap, you know what's coming in 3.5. There's no more guessing. There's no more. So, and then you know that the ATVs kind of follow that, where they're going to show the content coming in 3.5. So there's no, they're not leaving any room for speculation like the glory days of Star Citizen content where you'd see an image, a concept image, a ship, this, and then we would all sit there and go, wow, I wonder what I'm going to do with it, right? So that's the comments from last week's episode, and that is the wrap-up of last week's episode. I thought it was a really great one. We had a lot of great comments and all that, and I appreciate you guys watching that one. And now, let's bring on our friend, the Noobifier, who I forgot to change the thing. Dang it. I thought I was completely set up, but I'm not. So it's okay. You're a Thaxis for right now, but you'll be Noobifier in a second. So what's up, man?
Hello, everyone. So hopefully I'm not crackling, and yeah, as Twerk said earlier, sometimes wherever, why ever I move in and out of sync, it's a thing. So if you're watching,
yeah. So sometimes Noob's mic for whatever reason goes in and out of sync, but don't stress about it. No big
First
deal.
world. It's because of all the Bitcoin.
Yes.
No. Okay. So I'd just like to quickly comment on what you were talking about.
Yeah, go for it.
I never used to cover or change or no BS around the verse because I actually thought it was really good.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the need. I wanted people just to go watch it. Calling all devs. What Jared specifically said about it was that it was redundant with RTV because he saw RTV and calling all devs as the same thing. But as we found out last week, RTV doesn't actually answer our questions all the time. And calling all devs is derived from a bespoke thread where you get to ask your questions, the community gets to upvote, and then those questions are asked. Now, sometimes rogue questions get through because like when is Track IR coming back was one of my favorite ones. I'm like, well, Track IR is back, and that was the answer, and then they just moved on.
Yeah. So
that was kind of a waste of a question. Those could have been mitigated if Montreal adds a thumbs up and thumbs down to that thread. So that would let you kind of, it would kind of be maybe bad like Reddit is sometimes where it just gets brigaded down and it's like, screw you. But it's part of the thing. You can't have upvote all the time. That's one. And then all I would really ask the community team to do, just like they did with the Defender, is tell us first, right?
Yeah.
Before it magically pops up on the thing and becomes a story, just make it just tell us first and then update it, because that's the whole point of open development. Isn't necessarily open shock development. It's supposed to be collaboration, you know, like we fund the game and they tell us what's going on with the game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost anything. It's just time.
Yeah.
So
For real. And I just, yeah, I agree with you. I think we can move on from it. I think we've beaten that thing pretty bad. So in general, welcome to the show. It's been a little while. I don't even remember
yeah,
what the last show we talked about was. Can Star Citizen be balanced? I think I think that was the episode that you were on, and that was a great
no
show.
change. No changes.
No
since
change.
then.
Yeah, we have no idea still. But yeah, what have you been up to specifically lately? The reason I actually planned on having you on a couple weeks ago, but you were working on this slew of peripheral videos, and I
Right.
was waiting to have some of those out to bring you on so we can properly give them a good discussion and justice and all that. So what have you been up to, man?
So while waiting for 3.5, because like you said on stream about an hour ago, it's fun to play Star Citizen, but if you know something new is coming, like if I was a racer, let's say, I would probably just stop and wait for the new flight model, because I'm not going to learn anything. And even if you're enjoying it, you know in the back of your head that it's coming and it's going to change, and you're just like, I'm just going to take a break.
If I was a tutorial maker, I would put out the tutorial right before the flight model changes, right?
Yeah. That's actually one of the things on my list, which is funny. I'm not going to talk about CIG's thing, but I'm going to mention that that's on my plan, right? So effectively, I've been blessed with people offering to send me stuff to review, and it's gotten better with time. Like obviously, the more you do something, the more notorious you are, and then you get it's easier to get. Now, it's not like always, like people have to remember, it's not always just free stuff, because you do still invest 15 to 20 hours reviewing something.
Absolutely.
And it's not something I would have bought anyways. So where this stems from is I did only Virpol, and then one of the people's like, well, Noobifier, you should also do VKB. And I'm like, yes, but that would cost me $1,000 out of pocket, right? And I don't actually need a second set of sticks. Anyway, so VKB was very nice. They've started to send some stuff to test with, which is good. So right now, Thrustmaster Warthog, MT50 Delta Grip, MCG, which is a VKB stick, and then CM1 and CM2 are all here. Pretty soon, I'm hoping to get my hands on a Warbird, which is the newest version of it's a F4 Lightning or F4 Phantom. It's a short little stick that Virpol's making, but it has a Z-axis in it. So obviously immediately interesting for the Star Citizen community, those of us that want to fly 6 DOF, 6 degrees of freedom. Hopefully you guys, you guys all know that by now. And then of course Cosmosima's come out, which is VKB's final release. Like they finally released something that should be more appealing to us. So they've always threatened to have, a Z-axis adapter or something like that, but they've never actually just done it. And in talking with them, not them specifically, but companies in general, they have a very, very long history with sim pilots, and sim pilots hate change. So the classic thing is like, oh, well, if you just take a normal stick and put a Z-axis on it, then it's not a sim stick anymore, it's a toy or something. So just as much as we give flack to CIG, the joystick providers and joystick companies also get this hate, negative feedback stuff. And I'm so happy that the companies have gotten to a point where either they're going to take something and say, I don't care, right? Which is the right thing, because they should try to get a wider audience, or they'll make a stick that's only for space, like Cosmosima. And then the sim pilots don't really have anything to complain about, because it's not taking away from their stuff. But I'll tell you,
flight sticks are such a niche market that that if they don't gives a little access to the space game pilots, then I think they're doing themselves a disservice,
We're going to
right?
use it anyways, right?
Yeah,
But it's not going to have the same appeal.
yeah,
So having mini sticks, like a little joystick, is one way to achieve extra DOF, and then the other one is just straight up put the Z right into
yeah. Which I
the
think is the
base
better
of.
option. I assume you feel the same way.
Right. And then what I noticed, which is funny, is that the way they've done it, you can actually use Z or Z, whatever you guys do, without actually modifying. Like it takes a significant amount of force to break neutral.
Yeah,
So honestly, unless you were trying or very like vigorous with it, it wouldn't do anything, and then you could just leave it unbound anyway. So like I personally, as a non-sim pilot, like hardcore sim pilot, I don't understand how that would wreck my day anyways. But anyways, tangent confirmed. There's a lot of great stuff coming. There's at least 3 more videos. I did that. I tried something different, ladies and gentlemen. I tried a joystick battle, set in a boxing ring with all of the ambience and stuff like that. It wasn't necessarily that it wasn't no bullshit, but a lot of people thought that the filter and all the extra shit was just that. And the nice thing is
yeah,
I still have all the sticks and all the information. So in the future, my plan is to not necessarily revisit that video, but break it up into, as new products come out, do a new series like what this is and pit one joystick against the other. The ultimate thing is these things are like $1,000 by the time you're done paying for it, if you can even buy it the way that the store is set up. And I want you guys to get exactly what you want. And to do that, you have to be able to see
yeah. It's
what
insane to
everything is.
like when you're getting into the price range of the peripherals that you're using here. That's like the main thing is that you're doing everybody a massive service where it's like the I know what I'm getting into because I'm on my T16000M still because I can't spend that kind of money and have it be a mistake,
Right.
right? Like I've wanted the Warthog this whole time, but I know it doesn't have a Z-axis. So I've said, well, I'm going to wait and see, what other options I have. For now, for me, the best option is the T16000M. But I'm interested in these other more expensive joysticks, but I want to get exactly what I need, and
Right.
that's it. And that's where like your videos have really been so important because we're getting the new flight model in a little while. Star Citizen is starting to come along. So as far as the Star Citizen community is concerned, I think now is going to start being the time where you're going to start thinking about upgrading your computer for Star Citizen, getting those Star Citizen peripherals. Are you going to use Game Glass or not? Like all these things that you've been doing lately have been really like a service, and I appreciate it. And that's why I knew the videos were coming because we speak pretty regularly, and I knew I wanted to have you on the show because just in case people don't watch your stuff regularly, or just in case people are still using mouse and keyboard and are waiting for an upgrade. I mean, you're now starting to get the information
So
out there.
there's a lot of questions like, so the biggest thing I get is like people see the updated flight model and they will, oh well, now I don't need joystick. Thanks a lot, Noobifier, for making me spend all this money. First of all, lol on that one because that's whatever. I actually don't think that that the new flight model invalidates anything. If anything, it's going to make it even more important to have fidelity because your throttle on keyboard is now based on effectively a mouse wheel type thing, like when you're walking and what direction you're going, right?
Yeah.
So if you need to use a combination of mouse wheel and a on off button to modulate your speed, then why not just have a modulation of speed in your hand,
Yeah.
right? So that's kind of freaky. And then the thing I like the most about it is those of us that are running double stick, where you have thruster front and back mapped to your left hand, nothing really changes except that it's not
This
a
was
target
made for
speed.
you.
Yeah, this is
This was
actually
actually made for you, this flight model. That's what
right.
they told us. Like I'm in Evocati, you're not. So obviously I
Yeah.
can't share my experiences with it, but I can share the information that we know that's out there
That's open
from
source.
them. That's open source, right? And they totally said that, a lot of the work that they did is because they see everybody is using dual sticks and they had that in mind,
Yeah.
right? So
It's natural.
yeah.
It's a natural flight model, and like space and double stick is is a thing. It makes sense. You have six DOF and you need 6 methods of input
Yeah.
that are analog. So it's quite good. Yeah, like I mean, it's a no-brainer. And honestly, I know that there are people at CIG, like we mock them that they don't play the game, but there are people there that really do play the game. And just the fact that they're in proximity to maybe the other people that that have influence over where the game is going makes me very happy. Like, I know I always talk about Baird being there, and he's in some of their videos, and he's standing at a desk with double sticks, like double Verpal, exactly like I was running before Delta, and that's the most satisfying, or more that makes me very happy, because yes, we have Evo Cody, and yes, we have, you know, SC4 competitive guys and all of the people that bust their ass literally to try to make this game make sense for all of us. And then the regular fear is always, like you said, and this isn't directed at anyone in particular, but like, let's say, for example, and it's not possible, but let's say the guy making all the decisions for the flight model doesn't actually fly anything other than cargo, right? Well, then it would make sense that it doesn't make sense. So that's why we need the others maybe to chime in. And that wasn't, again, an assessment of anything. That was just an example.
Yeah, I mean, and the big thing is, and this is something that we shared earlier about the Star Citizen community, is the Star Citizen community right now isn't the overarching giant amount of people that have actually bought the game. So no matter what, you're getting a minority of the people that'll be playing the game in the future.
Right.
So as long as CIG just, you know, looks at the feedback logically and is not just listening to the loudest person, I think we'll be okay. And just based on all the initial like ATVs and stuff. And the good thing is I'm not really sharing anything because I have barely played the Evo Cody build anyway, so I don't really know much about the flight model other than what we've seen.
Well, it's Arena Commander. It's not exactly like you can go test out atmospheric flight or drag or lift or anything like that yet. So it doesn't. They're basically. I'm not on Evo Cody, and based on even just patch notes or the roadmap, like that's the joke, is that there's. Let me go off on a slight tangent. I don't actually feel that the roadmap or the patch notes should be an NDA thing, because they can be written vague and then published. This is what the Evo Cody's working on right now. They only have access to Arena Commander. They only have the Gladius. Oh, now they've got the Vanguard. You know, like that shouldn't be a secret. So then when it does hit Reddit, it becomes sensational information. But if you go look at the roadmap, it's the same stuff that's on the roadmap, the same stuff we've seen for 6 months. So it is getting back to that tell us always first kind of thing. And I don't think it's damaging. I know that you streaming a broken patch would be bad, necessary, like for the development of the
thing is even when the game is released, the patch is released, we're still streaming a fucking broken patch. Like I just don't get the point of it, a lot of it. So
I know
we had an answer the call with the Astropub that was titled, "Is the Evo Cody NDA, like, is there even a point to it?"
Right.
And that was actually our least watched episode, so you guys should go check that out. I'll link.
I don't want to get us off topic. I'm sorry. Just
no, it's fine, but it's valid, I think. But yeah, somebody asked in Twitch chat, and I'll ask you this, is for someone who uses joysticks a lot and stuff like that, is mouse and keyboard still valid, do you think?
Oh, yeah. So this is the thing. It has to be. And I know that people are going to be maybe shocked that this is my perception of it. Most people don't have the money or the desk real estate to set up a second set of controllers. It is my personal journey. One of the first videos I did like 3 years ago was talking about my start at Star Citizen with mouse and keyboard, switching to controller, like game controller, and then adding track IR because I was missing a little bit of the precision in aiming gimbals. And then they changed the way the weight of the weapons are with regards to if you have gimbals and you go down a step. So then I flew fixed with a controller, and that didn't have precision. So I made the natural progression to hotas, which was good at the time. Threw some pedals in there. And you know what I mean? Like, so that whole thing is there for a reason. But each of those steps was because I felt personally that I had plateaued. I felt that I had gotten good enough with it and then couldn't get any better. Now, if someone is only trying to run cargo from point A to point B, or what Soros is doing, which is flying on a moon at Mach Chicken in an M50, and all he needs is a keyboard and mouse, and that's it, then
But
that's good, and that should be viable.
Soros has flown. Okay, so like I love racing, and I was racing for a while, and then he started to, and I use a joystick, and I was doing really well. I was in the top 20 on the leaderboards, and he came in and crushed me. So
Right.
like
So
it's definitely valid. It's definitely viable. It's just a different way of flying, and
I can't do it.
I don't know
Like,
how
I
it
know
changes with the
I've
flight model. What changes though, because I'm not I don't use mouse and keyboard, but I don't see them invalidating it.
No, but there was an RTV 2 weeks ago where we were seeing the new flight model and flying over planets and all that stuff. It wasn't auto gimbal; it was the flight model.
Yeah.
And Jared and two other guys were flying. He was doing Gravlev flying, and it was funny. I was like, "How come I'm starting to feel ill?" And it's because he's using WASD, right? Like he's having to tap and make full corrections on turning, and I'm just not used to seeing it because for land vehicles I use Xbox controller with a mini stick, so all the motions are fluid. And it was just funny because at the end of like 15 minutes of watching him fly third person, I actually felt sick. So what I'm saying is
Could be the frame
keyboard
rate
and mouse
also.
is going to work, but I still think like what's an Xbox controller at like $50-$60 at most if you don't
Yeah.
get the pro one. Then I can actually see playing FPS like fighting, like normal Call of Duty style with WAS and mouse, and then flying. I don't even think I'm going to use joysticks for if I'm flying a Hull C. I think I'm just going to relax and use an Xbox controller because you don't need all the precision. I haven't like I basically have to make videos about
Gas.
all this stuff. Yeah.
No, just
What? No, seriously.
I know,
If
but
it's
I
just
just
a Hull
think people
C,
are gonna be like, "What?
no, it doesn't.
Did you
'Cause
just
so
say
this is
just a whole C?
well, so
How
it
dare
doesn't
you
move
curse like
quick.
that in this
No, but
channel?
listen, then
How
it doesn't
dare
move.
you?" No, just kidding.
No, it doesn't move quickly. It may not need the level of micromanagement that a full so hands-on stick and throttle is what it's now called, which is funny.
Yeah.
Um, the track IR is gone because of FOIP, maybe. I don't even think it's supported anymore. Voice attack is still viable as means of communications. You have Stream Deck, you have Game Glass, you've got like 16 different methods of inputting stuff and using macros and everything. Like we are overwhelmed. And I think
Yeah.
it's because we're seeing a game in alpha and people aren't necessarily bored, but they're envisioning things to do while they're waiting for the next patch.
Yeah.
And like it's fantastic. It's very good. Like even the Blackhawk controller, which is a physical button box, that's bespoke to Star Citizen. It's
I
very
want that thing.
it's very
Oh.
exciting. It's cool because tactile buttons, right? And
Yes.
especially if we start to get VR, that's another thing I've started to do is VR road sim, and I'm not going to talk about it a long time. But when you're in VR, you need so the Stream Deck has buttons that you can physically count and push the right one, right?
Yeah,
Like
they
so
even
you
have
can
the middle like your
right,
J and F key.
the little tab,
Yeah.
right? So you can feel it, that little bump, which is funny, and it's so good because if it was Game Glass for that, it couldn't use it because it's just a piece of tablet. What are you gonna push? So there are definitely great options out there, but that really gets into the same thing of like what I'm doing. Obviously, 3.5 is coming out. Not that I'm taking a break before it, but there's really nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
I wanted to do anything on reverse the verse in like no BS, but RTV is not really like that type of thing. Is just go watch it and enjoy it because there's nothing to say, right? Oh, then he added
Sometimes.
like a line.
Depends.
No, but it's specifically
Oh,
with the
this
helmet
this
one.
one. Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing to talk about, which is fine. Ultimately, I want CIG to have such a good production value that I don't have to do a single video, right? That's the goal. I shouldn't need to. And we're talking about like everyone's already
Well,
talked
you'll
about the
always
tutorial.
need to if the people
Well, it's
out there
different
wanna.
perspective, right?
Yeah, well, for me, like if there's gonna be an hour episode where all they do is ask questions, that's and answer questions. I think that's a
Right.
great format. but at the same time, people will probably still want to go to your video and go, well, let me get the rundown, the quick
Right. And
rundown on it.
sometimes I get people that say like I watch yours to see if I want to watch theirs, which
Yeah.
is also,
Yeah.
like if there's a lot of stuff there, because you've said it in the past, I do miss stuff. And it's not necessarily that I forget it.
Yeah.
It's that in my line, if they're talking about something from 3 years from now, like cloud tech, like in the future for Squadron 42, I may just simply omit it because I see that as a comment, or what is it? Theory crafting. Like the developers can theory craft as well.
And they do.
And
And
yeah, of
sometimes
course
we
they
take,
do.
and sometimes we, and I'm saying we as the Star Citizen community, take that and say, this is what it
It's
is.
in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the game. But there, anytime a dev says something like, "Oh, well, we might think about," then put that as a 10%, right? Because there's a thousand other things that need to happen
Yeah.
before that. That's going to be like an after launch, well, whatever you want to call it, soft launch thing. But so no, definitely 3.5. I'm looking at the how to, which is funny, the tutorial. Not trying to. I'm not going to do it on purpose just to make it like because they made one, I'm going to make one. I was going to do it anyways. Flight model testing, big time. Ship videos, not terribly interesting. Like we're going to get the Reliant or whatever. It's like, here's the Reliant, no BS, 2 minutes. I'm going to do that just because I feel that I need to do that. Like that's going to be appealing to some people. Meta is the thing that I want to do.
Me
So
too.
I'm going to hit the tables, look at how the guns have changed, try to find the best weapon loadout kind of thing, decide whether or not auto gimbal is something that I want to use, which we can talk about. Obviously, that's the point of this whole thing. What auto gimbal means to me as a pilot, and obviously same with deadly loadouts, which is all meta and stuff like that. I'm going to check with mining, see if that's improved or whatever, and work on escort tactics for the ships, because again, with flight model and combat coming, hopefully we have the need now to hit Jumptown with an escort, right? Clear it out, do a proper tactic, and start that teamwork that we haven't necessarily lacked, but it's been harder, right?
Yeah, it's
So
getting there. I mean, we're getting the voice in
yeah,
game, so like things are slowly coming along with it. Yeah.
right.
Um, I think now we should probably move on to
Yeah,
well, before we go, you've made a Google Doc.
right.
Do you want to talk about that Google Doc first, and then we'll move on to
So
the
yeah,
gimbal?
just quick and dirty. What I've done is I've taken, like I said earlier, those of you that weren't here, Board Gamer and I talk a lot. We're like good friends, and he's super valuable to me for information. I can ask him a question, and he's like a dictionary thesaurus and encyclopedia in one. But he came to the realization that he doesn't do hardware, and he sometimes gets hardware questions. So he wanted to uh, point them at me. So I made a doc for him, not necessarily for him, but so that he can link it. But this doc I'm going to keep up to date. It's all of everything that I've ever done on any controllers or hardware.
And we'll
So
link
like
that.
pedals and all that stuff. So please, if you know a new pilot or you're just curious about what's going on, some of these videos are a little bit dated, like they're like 2 years, but they're relevant still. Like
Yeah.
picking the right controller is still relevant. It hasn't changed. And then I did start a new series called Exposed, which is fun. Short videos where I take something apart and make a more engineering assessment, like whether or not it's good value from a construction perspective.
Yeah.
And
'Cause how many
it's
of us
still a
out
little
there have had to replace our joysticks, right? So
right.
it's
Yeah,
important.
and then like even whether or not you could maybe fix it. Like if you buy this joystick and it breaks, is it something that's user serviceable or
Yeah.
not? Like that kind of stuff. What the company's like, I haven't really delved into that yet because customer service experience is really good for most. I probably won't make a video like that because it'll seem like a burn, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, but people know. People can read other comments and see what a good company looks like.
Yeah. And now I kind of want to jump into the Gimbal Assist.
Right.
Gimbal Assist. I've done a lot of talking about it, and I don't know it. I have my issues with it, and I definitely want to have a back and forth with you. So what
No,
like what's your just general like first initial thought
my
process when you saw
irrelevant.
this video? Irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
Really? Why? Okay. Because I
Okay.
think it's very
So
relevant, so this should be pretty
no, fuck no, no.
good.
Um,
Nice.
right?
Yes. This is gonna be
You
good.
want this?
Yes,
Okay.
bring it.
So I'm a fixed pilot. I
Me
fly
too.
mono, fixed, 4 weapons. And if you look at that, if you actually go look at the video, you have this little dotted cone, and
Yep.
whenever you select, the weapons try to aim. The weapons don't immediately snap to that location.
No.
There's a slight delay
Yep.
in the gimbal itself, which is key. Even if it's spot on, I don't think that the cone of the pilot still needs to keep that very, very small area in the vicinity of the target. So he still needs a lot of skill to maintain it. And then I would, as a pilot, a fixed pilot, I've gotten used to, even if you're, like the scissor thing where you're going this way and the guy's going this way, timing that perfect shot so that you get that one extra shot in. And that's all intuition and repetition and muscle memory. I would rather have my intuition tell me when to pull the trigger than to pray that some goofy gimbalized weapon that's a size down is able to be in the right place when I pull the trigger. So I actually think it's gonna be like Dumbo's feather for a lot of people, where they feel that they're better with it. But if they had just turned it off and gone up a size in weapons and learned how to fly fixed, I think what it's effectively going to do is nothing. It's maybe going to help turrets, but turrets would have had their own AI assist anyways. Like this isn't the same thing as an AI turret. This is a pilot assist. Just like ESP was added to help joystick pilots become as good as keyboard and mouse, I actually think that as soon as they gave keyboard and mouse gimbal down a step, so your DPS is, let's say, half of what I can do, you're able to fire more consistently like paint me, but I'm able to go hit, and take off your wing. So I really, I hope I don't eat my words, but
I think you're gonna.
the demo specifically was that it was a large circle, a larger area than the actual area, and that was done for demonstration purposes, and that the weapons were reacting quicker than they used to. So, for example, you know the ball turret on the Super Hornet. At one point, if you had track IR, you could push a button and look backwards, and that turret would take about 6 or 7 seconds to turn around. But then, using your head, you could actually shoot as a pilot flying forward. You could shoot over the back at someone pursuing you. And I played with it a little bit, but I soon realized it's not reliable enough. It's too complicated. Like everyone's always talking about, does that joystick's mini stick give me the ability to aim my weapons? And yes, it does, but you're not going to hit anything with it, right? It would be more a better use of your time to spin around and just shoot than try to screw around putting road flares and laser lights all over around the target, so it's I think it's going to be a great thing for people who are starting out, but I also think it's going to become a crutch, and I think it's going to become a plateau where a person will refuse to learn more, and it will limit them instead of help. That's the whole chain.
Okay, and I disagree with some things that you say because I don't think it'll do nothing. So, for someone who plays the game very, very regularly, and I'm using the Hornet as an example here because Hornet has the option to have size 3, size 2, and size 1 guns in various fixed and gimbaled situations, right? Some of them are on a gimbal turret, some of them are on gimbals, some of them are fixed, are your options. And from what I've experienced is that if a size 2 weapon hits often, it is just as effective as a size 3 weapon that doesn't. And that's where I feel like the example that we've seen on this week's ATV, where the circle is the size that it is, and they said later that it will be smaller. I call bullshit on that because I think they heard us get upset and said, "Oh, well, we'll make the circle smaller." because if you actually watch the video, which we're watching right now, is the gimbal moves only in that circle range. So they argued that the range of the gimbal is smaller because it only is stuck to that circle length. Whereas if you were not using Gimbal Assist, you have the whole, basically the length of the screen almost.
Yeah, whatever the weapon can go to.
Yeah, which is a lot wider, right? And they argue that that's the downside.
That's the balance. Yep.
I disagree. I don't think that balances it at all.
No, but that's the intent, is what I'm saying.
That's
I'm
their
saying
intent,
that's their way of balancing.
And my issue is that we're going to be hitting ships easily all the time, because I don't think too many people have an issue with getting close to the pips, but they have an issue getting right on the pips. And then also with a little bit of desync, the difference in range from the pilot to you. Sometimes they make a movement and your shot that was on target before is now off target because the amount of
the hitbox moved.
The hitbox is moved, and your weapon muzzle velocity isn't fast enough to get there in time, right? Because it's not just an auto shot. And I think this is going to help all pilots. And I think what I'm seeing is I don't see a valid reason not to use it. And especially not to use, if you're a mouse and keyboard pilot maybe and using gimbals, why would you ever use gimbals over this? And
yeah, Gimbal Assist over that. Like, why would you?
Why would you ever?
So I actually think that Gimbal Assist is going to be a thing that's used, tested, and then turned off. Okay, and hear me out.
Possibly.
I could be proven wrong, because I'm obviously going to test it because I want to find the meta, right? If I can run 4 size 2 weapons on a saber and have them automatically hit all the time, then you're right. I would rather.
Now you're talking potentially. I'm sorry to interrupt. Right. Now you're talking potentially less power draw from your power plant. More things that you could potentially.
Well, no, because the gimbals add power too.
But that's where I'm pissed off about this whole thing, is you're making an assumption on that. The only thing that they told us was that it would be a smaller range, and that the gimbal would move slower than you can move it yourself with your mouse. That is the only downsides that they told us.
But I'm speaking about joystick specifically.
Okay.
So if I was flying joystick fixed, I could have 4 size 3s. I could choose to have 4 size 2s and auto gimbal, right?
Yeah.
And what I basically need to do is TTK. I need to go and do 18 waves.
Yep.
And figure out the TTK for each engagement. And this is where analysis and time comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And then go and do the same thing, 18 waves, 18 waves. And the only reason I'm saying 18 waves is that if I do it in Battle Royale, then it's not scientific, right? It's because then it's personality dependent, how good the other pilot is. It's not repeatable. And everyone's always, like, not necessarily always, but a lot of people have always criticized, like, Noobifier, you're always testing in Arena Commander for like not necessarily in Battle Royale or Squadron Battle. And he's like, and the people are like, that's you're not really giving a true representation. But it's the only way to get that consistency, so that I can actually make an evaluation. It's not that I don't play the other ones. It's that in the video, I always show footage of canned data anyways. So what I need to do is relearn the flight model, step 1, and then get good with fixed, because that's what I think I want to do. And then put auto gimbal on a pair of joysticks and see if I'm able to track the target better, because it's able to lead a little bit. Now, we're also not talking about the main thing, which I think needs to come, which is gun harmonization, right? That's
what I thought this was initially.
Right. Well, so this is the thing. I forget, it wasn't, it was Pappy. Todd Pappy said, again, I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, right? You can go watch the video. It's there. When on RTV, Todd Pappy was talking about how it would help different gun types hit 1 pip.
Yeah, convert.
And that's why that gave me a lot of relief, because it's not auto aim at that time. You're still needing to aim one of the pips, but then all the other weapons converge on it.
And now you don't have the tiny pip, you have the one kind of little bit larger pip. You know,
right.
So it's a little bit easier to hit something in there.
If this gun is slow, it has to lead a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's super good. Like that's great. That lets you run a mixed loadout, and it doesn't remove skill. The skill is still there. But then they came back I forget his name. It was on an ATV. He was talking about how that's where we saw the circle and the gun's actually moving. And my first impression was, well, there goes the game. And then,
Yeah.
in typical fashion, there goes the game. We get information, and then the next day we get something to put the fire out. Oh, don't worry, it's not so bad. It's this, this, and this. And again, you said it before. That could be a lie. That could be irrelevant. But that's why my current, like, as of today, I actually think that I will be better the way I was, fixed, big weapons, and good coolers, and able to take more or less aimed shots. Just to put that in perspective, I very rarely use like something like a Badger or a laser repeater like that. I usually use laser cannons for that exact reason, that when I see the cursor and the pip line up, I pull. Like, it's
And it's also
aimed
the meta
shots.
right now. Yeah.
Right. So I want to take someone's wing off in 2 hits. I don't want to paint lasers at someone. Now, if it turns out that the, Klaus and Warner repeaters and gimbals is better TTK, then guess what? That's going to become a video, and maybe not necessarily my video should be something CIG should look at. But if that's what my finding is, and I think it's imbalanced, and that's going to invalidate laser cannons, then either the cannons have to come up, or the gimbal has to be slower, or some other thing, right? And that's all part of the joys of discovery. This is why I love playing the game, because, and I haven't lately because I've been waiting for change, right? Yeah. I'm not alone.
And before we move on in the discussion, if anybody wants to call in, we're going to be taking a few callers, not as many as we normally do, most likely. So if you do want to get in line and talk to Noob about a specific joystick, or talk to us about the discussion that we're having right now about auto gimbals, just make sure you pop in the Discord. There they are. So you could probably give you some examples there. Just pop in the Discord and in the answer the call category, and Sunday will help you out and get you in the queue.
Dual mouse is a great April Fool's joke. Thank you.
What about dual keyboard?
I'll make a video about...
Somebody asked about dual keyboard in chat.
Dual keyboard is a thing too.
Yes. But just kind of wrapping up this discussion is I feel that I actually like the gimbal, the auto gimbal thing. I think it actually belongs in the game. We see it in Elite Dangerous. And the thing about Elite Dangerous is it has a proper countermeasure to defend against it. So what I see auto gimbals as is something very similar to missiles, where missiles are a lock on, press and click, and it just goes, right? Where the auto gimbals are a very similar situation where I have to aim a little bit, lock on, press, and go. And with missiles, you have the countermeasure. I just think we should have the countermeasures that we have currently in game work in a similar fashion, right? Where
that it breaks the lock for the gimbal.
That it breaks the lock for the gimbal, yeah.
And then consider this: what about beam weapons with auto gimbal? Right? You're basically painting a death ray at something.
Yeah, and we don't have beam weapons currently. We have mining lasers, and I imagine that they're coming, right? So
well, no, because the Idris P has a beam weapon.
Oh, that's true.
That was. Yeah. So that's going to be a thing.
No, the Idris P has a railgun, doesn't it?
Sorry, the K, the new one.
Oh,
the new one actually has a beam weapon, and it's interchangeable on all of them, which means that kind of, in my mind, that sets the precedence that beam weapons is in the universe, which means that it'll become something that you can put. Now, they even said that they're going to be a drain. They're not going to just kill something like a death ray, like remember the Doomsday Machine from Star Trek? It's not going to be like that where the thing just obliterates. It's going to knock your shields down and drain. But still, that would be an interesting thing to think about. Like, you have 2 guys with beam weapons on auto gimbal who are just going to bring the target down, and then one retaliator comes in and launches 1 torpedo and just done. Like this is I think this has always been what I wanted. This has always been what I wanted out of Star Citizen, is this very, very thick meta, something that you literally have to sit down and almost play chess and like cause an effect. And then if that guy has this, then we do this, it's so exciting that way. And it's always been my concern as we get further and further closer to development that, well, there we go, auto gimbal, that just invalidated half of the meta. And it's still my belief that it won't. but maybe I'm just optimistic.
I think it'll just become part of it, and I think it needs to be there, and here's why. Is we know that we don't want to constantly just be blowing up other spaceships. We would like to disable them and then take what's inside of them, right? So whether it's somebody that attacked you and you successfully destroyed them, you would like to possibly gain some value from that fight, right? So going in there and either stripping some of the parts out of it or taking some of their FPS weapons, armor, whatever they happen to have in there.
The loot.
Yeah, is important. And why I feel like auto gimbals are a necessity with, and it's only based on the current information that I have, is that the LODs in the game are pretty excessive, where if something's 500 meters away from me, it basically disappears. So with that said, it's so far away, the muzzle velocity of the guns isn't high enough where aiming at the pips, even if we have component targeting, which we are starting to get, we will not necessarily be super successful at disabling a certain component of a ship without having a little bit of an assistance. And I think that's where auto gimbals come into play and are very important, is if your main role is to disable a ship, you're probably going to rock all auto gimbals, target the power plant, target the engines, and disable a ship and then strip it down or whatever.
So 2.5 is when you went overseas to do Star Marine, right? That was the big deal.
2.6, yeah.
2.6. Okay.
No,
so
Star Marine was 261.
Okay, so 2.4. 2.4 was before the slowdown. 2.5 was the slowdown, and then Star Marine was another slowdown. Remember? And with that, weapons used to be very accurate, because if you think about it, it's space. There's no effective gravity or anything like that, so a bullet should go very, very straight. So 2.4, you used to be able to engage at like 1.4. The pip would show up. It would stop being an X, and it would show up, especially with something like a laser cannon. And you'd go click, click, click. You could pretty much, even in Vandal Swarm, and I know I always use Vandal Swarm as like an example, but you could pretty much, if you had 3 enemy coming towards you, you could pretty much kill one and neutralize the other, and then wreck the other one on the flip side. And then when that happened, the slowdown, they also increased the cone of accuracy. They reduced the accuracy, and also reduced the range. The laser mysteriously stops at 1,000 meters, which was done to incentivize us to get closer and see the fancy ships and do all the World War II dogfighting and all that stuff.
What should be happening is the amount of damage done should decrease,
just taper off
from range.
Right. Yeah, of course. And then all you're doing is overheating all your
down.
Right, and you're wasting your shots, literally. So again, this is why, getting back to 30 minutes ago, why it's key to have people who work there read and know what the community is thinking about, and not just like you were saying, like, oh well, Evocati is this tiny little group of people and they're where all of the information comes from, but that's not a representation of the whole community. That's the hardcore
and overall it's
people,
the representation of a lot of the time the egotistical, loud part of the community. It's
a little dangerous, and I think I don't think CIG is unaware of that, but it doesn't. I don't know. Again, I'm not here to salt farm or anything like that. It's just I am genuinely happy with the game, but there are certain things that I see every once in a while which scare me. Right, that's all.
And the only other issue that I had was specifically with the ATV and how it was shared, is that, like, we've speculated on what the possible debuffs would be for these auto gimbals, because
they never said it.
Because they never said it in the show. You absolutely, when it comes to game design and something that is this game changing potentially, see, we still have to guess. You really have to put all that information out there. Is there going to be a countermeasure to it? How is it going to take more power drain from your ship? All of
it.
You know,
that should have been an RTV.
There should be other things that I'm not even thinking right now. That should have all been an ATV.
It shouldn't have been a 5-minute ATV section. It should have been maybe like we used to get, which is a full one, or take that video, play it at the beginning of RTV, and then
discuss it.
discuss it, right?
Yeah.
Because those questions, like what you
There's
just
too many
had,
questions still.
are the ones that maybe the develop. Not saying the developer, believe me, I'm not saying the developer's unaware, but our questions are the ones that other people like us want to know.
Yeah.
So this is why calling all devs was such a great thing, because
You get to
you'd get to
follow
address
up.
the questions, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, bring back calling all devs, please. Just,
Yes.
I don't care. I'll pay for it.
All right. So now we will switch kind of things completely. Something that we've never done on this show before. It should be pretty fun, I think. Is we are going to look at some people's setups from Star Citizen. So let me close everything and make sure I don't have anything on the screen that we don't want to see.
You mean I have to pay attention to Twitch now?
I am going. Yeah, you're gonna have to pay attention to Twitch because I don't know any other way to do it. I'm sorry. So we're gonna bring up people's setups on screen, and the first one is second because I want this.
It's okay. You'll get over.
Do this 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. Put that right there. All right. So the first one that we're going to see, and I actually can't even see my OBS, so let me know if you guys see a setup on screen.
I do.
Okay. So this is from Mr. President. And more so, it's not about the peripherals that he's using.
It's the ergonomics.
It's what he's done, what he's placed them in. This is clearly something he's made himself.
I like that it's not plywood.
No, that is hardwood, solid wood, right? I don't know the difference between hardwood and softwood, but whatever. But that is something he's made himself. That is really, really cool. And we have a couple other images of it. He's using, that's an X52 Pro, right? And Extreme 3D Pro. So as far as the joysticks goes, he's on the more budget end of things. But overall,
I'm assuming the chair slide. Oh, never mind. So there's nothing in the front, so you can just walk in. I like it.
And then he's got his pedals there. And I love his monitor stand, tiles that he hasn't laid on the floor yet, which is great. Very cool. Very cool. So like you can do really cool things on a budget, guys, right? We can play this game on a budget.
He countersunk his joystick, his right stick directly into it.
Yeah, you really see it in this one, right? How cool is that? So now you don't, like, you and I are huge fans of Monster Tech mounts.
Yeah.
He's also got his PC sunken in the back of the chair.
Which is good in the winter because you can blow it up over you and make it warm.
Yeah. Like, this thing is awesome, man. So Star Citizen community strikes again is just, this thing's so cool. So well done, Mr. President.
Well done, sir.
If we are going to give a rating 0 out of 10, what would you give Mr. President here? There.
It's not so simple. I like 10 for effort. Obviously, it's like.
Oh no. Oh no. What happened? We should still be live, right? Let me know, guys. We're still live? Okay. Noob said he'll be right back, so he must have had some issue. So I will continue with this. This is really cool. Definitely 10 out of 10 for effort. 10 out of 10 for creativity. The tile monitor stand is amazing. It's ergonomic. It's angled. Beautiful. So yeah, Noob will be back in just a sec, and I will switch to get him ready. It's not stained 8.5. Somebody said in Twitch chat. But yeah, just creativity. This thing's amazing, and I think eventually you'll probably want to switch from that Logitech 3D Pro, just because I'm sure you deal with the issues that I have with it. Although I will say the Logitech 3D Pro joystick, being like the cheapest joystick you can buy, has some of the best ergonomics of any joystick I've ever used. Now, he's also using the 3D Pro on his left side, and it's only a right-handed joystick.
I'm still here.
All right, you're back.
I'll join again.
Okay.
It seems I might need to clock my my massive overclock down a bit. This is a new PC.
Gotcha. No worries. But overall, the feeling on your right hand of how it lays in your hand and the ability to touch all the buttons on the Logitech Extreme 3D Pro, I think that button layout with your thumb at the top of it, there isn't much better. Looks like you're trying to join, Noob. Let's see. But yeah, he's trying to get in here still. But yeah, I want to see him fly with it. It's really cool. And then we'll get into the next ones as we get Noob in.
Yep. First world problems. I'll be right back.
Okay. No problem. So we'll continue without Noob and go with the next. So I'll keep popping on. I don't remember if the next ones there were some meme entries that we put in here. Yes, the next one is a bit of a meme entry, so it's not going to be too much of a problem. Is Malv? Malv's a mouse and keyboard user. Now, there are some very important things that are on this desk. Okay. And also, who here has had this desk before? This desk that he used, I had, and I could not wait to take that thing apart, bash it into pieces, and throw it on the curb. I hated this desk. It wobbled. It was incredibly annoying. Noob, I believe you're back. I'll double check and make sure everything's good on OBS. But MALV is a mouse and keyboard guy. Can you see his setup there, Noob?
I can see it, yes.
So it's pretty basic. There is a very key peripheral that's on his desk, though. Very, very important. Have you spotted it yet? It is the most important thing to Star Citizen. Has anyone
spotted it? It's not a box of Kleenex, is it?
Nope. It is the Mountain Dew. The Mountain Dew is the most important thing. Therefore, he will never miss a shot in the game. He's also quantum traveling for about 15 minutes here while he's taking the video. See, this is what you can do while you're in quantum travel, guys, is you could just take pictures of your setup because you really don't need to do anything because Star Citizen. But anyway, I hate this desk. I used to have this desk. It is the worst desk ever. So I give you, me personally, a 10 out of 10 for MLG, but a 3 out of 10 for your cable management and your desk, because I hate that desk.
Is that
so
a
much.
Box of cereal on the ground?
It's Cheez-Its. There might be another box of cereal, but Cheez-Its as well. He's missing Doritos, so we can't give him 10 out of 10 for MLG because he doesn't have Doritos and Mountain Dew. He's got Cheez-Its and Mountain Dew.
But
yeah,
carb up, because life is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
So you got a carb load as you're playing, so that's good. I like that.
Yeah. All right. So next, this is Winlord, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check. This is Winlord setup. He's using an X56. Something very cool on his desk as well, if you haven't caught it yet. It's on top of his computer. You see his fan?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. How cool is that?
It's the Cutlass.
It's like the Cutlass fan, but it's also an actual like CPU fan, basically. That he uses as his fan. Very, very cool.
Very, very nice.
He's using an X56. I have an X56 as well. I think price to performance, I don't know where you would rate that in your joystick list. I wouldn't rate it super high.
I haven't done so. This is the thing. That whole series exposed. My goal is to get all this and test it.
I'll send you an X56 if you send me something. You want to swap?
Send you my double verbal sticks.
Yes. The trade value will be very much in my favor, I imagine. But if you want it, I'll just send it to you because I'm not using it. We don't have to trade. I'll just send it to you.
Okay,
right?
well,
We'll talk.
I'll get you. I'll send you something fun. Don't worry.
Sounds good.
I'll send you a VKB gunfighter.
Beautiful. It doesn't matter, and you don't even have to send anything, but I'll send it to you because I'm not using it. But yeah,
Send you a T-shirt.
sweet. I wear my Noobifier t-shirt all the time, actually.
I know, and I do appreciate it.
No
I
problem.
don't even have a twerk shirt. Okay, so I do like the window. The window's got a good
Yes.
distraction while you're at.
While you're in quantum, exactly. It's very important. You need
can't
distractions
leave 'cause you get
while in quantum.
interdicted, right?
Yeah.
But so you have to be around.
Yeah.
And I do like the shotgun seat
Yes.
for showing other people Star Citizen.
And the very important drum next to your setup in case you ever want to go to war. You turn VoIP on and start bashing on the drum. Doom,
Yep,
doom,
that gets you
doom,
muted.
Doom. Yep.
Yeah. But remember when Soros was doing the whistle?
Yes. There you go.
Same thing. Just grab the drum, give her.
Exactly.
No, it's good, and the microphone's nice too. Nice shock mount and everything.
Yeah, man. But overall, I think this is probably your middle end, your standard middle end Star Citizen setup, right? An X56, and some good peripherals. You know.
I like that it's still a functional desk. It's
Exactly.
still a computer.
Yes. Next, I also have that desktop. By the way, this is Selby. I give him 100 out of 100 for
just for the desktop.
For his desktop, he's watching Answer the Call on one screen, watching me stream on the other while we're playing marbles. I think that's very, very good. But the thing under his BenQ monitor, that is from Thrustmaster, right?
Yeah, those are MFDs. So that's designed. So a lot of people are trying to put, if Star Citizen had an API, we could do more with this. That could be a dynamic screen. What most people do now is they put a piece of paper that looks like a radar in it, and then it's pretty much another keyboard, but you can do macros and all kinds of stuff with it. They're good. Like if you're playing DCS, they would be more critical, I think, than where we are now with Star Citizen.
Is there an API in DCS that makes it effective? Yeah. Okay.
Well, because you can link active screen, so that it's designed to have not necessarily a phone, but like an iPad Mini or something like that behind it, and then it's more real time. Cool. It does what it's supposed to do. It's very cool. It's very
gotcha. And then he's using oh god, what is this stick on the right side? The Thrustmaster X.
Yeah, that thing there comes with I think it's two pieces. One is the throttle, and the other is and they can come up.
Yeah.
Give me a moment.
I think it's the
hotas X.
Yeah, he says the flight stick X. It's the one that if you're interested in Ace Combat, it is the only stick that works for it, I think. Ace Combat 7 that just came out recently. He's got the T-Flight rudder pedals, which I use as well. I like them. And the left-handed T16000M. But if you haven't noticed, something I wish you zoomed in on this one, Selby, is he's actually modded his T16000M and made the buttons more tactile. Because for those of you guys that use the T16000M, their buttons are really kind of wobbly and weird and mushy. Yeah. And he's modded them and made them really, really cool. Yeah, you could send pics if you want, Selby, but I won't be able to get them on the show.
I wanted to let people know in advance the VKB, because I haven't really explored VKB a lot up until recently. Their Gladiator, their VKB Gladiator, is not necessarily about the same price. When the Thrustmaster T16000M is at its most expensive, the Gladiator, its price point proposition is pretty much spot on. So if you're thinking about that and want something, you don't want to spend $1,000, but you want to maybe investigate, I'd ask you to go have a look. I'm trying to get my hands on one so that I can do an exposed between a 16000M, which is the default. Like it's the Avenger Titan of joysticks. It's the when everyone says, go and get it. Don't worry about it. You're fine. So yeah, Gladiator.
All right. I'm trying to get Selby's like close-up image here. I'm going to do my best to get it
Someone just commented that the Gladiator is plastic, but the T16000M is plastic, so that's the point. It's not. Like, I'm not telling you to.
I'll have a hard time getting Selby's thing. Yes, the next one is very good. This is Jackassery. So Selby will come back to your image at the end and show.
Unless I blue screen again.
Yeah. This setup is next level.
Yep.
But we didn't give Selby a rating. I'd give Selby a 7 out of 10, right?
solid.
What do you have there?
I like the window. Okay, so this is not a real.
Hold on.
Let's go.
Let's go to Selby. Let's go back to Selby before we go.
Okay, so I very much like the addition of the MFDs. If you can figure out a way to make them work, I would investigate reducing the height of the joystick, making it more ergonomic, bringing it down, not just like anything. Some people have used monitor stands like VESA mounts and that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be Monster Tech because Monster Tech is an expensive proposition. But if you could get those down so that when you're sitting, they're at a level instead of up, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So ergonomics is like a 5, but we've all been there, so it's a 10.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And this is just next level. This thing is insane.
Right. So 6 degrees of freedom straight up because it's double delta. It's the MT50 gimbal, which is the one that came out first, which is good because I actually think it's less smooth but more adjustable. You can dial it in, and then it looks to be like some kind of a chair mount, either Monster Tech. It's a little bit low, and then of course Game Glass up the wazoo.
It's definitely a Monster Tech mount for the joysticks, and then he's got this other mount with it.
Yeah,
that's very interesting that he has the Game Glass on
and the BFTV.
Yeah, you could say it.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's very immersive. That was the joke. I started to get into the circles with sim guys, and if you've seen the way that sim is sitting in front of a TV, everyone's like, "Oh, hey, arsehole, nice field of view," because the TV's quite far away. And I'm like, well, it's VR. The TV's just there for spectators. It has nothing to do with this. But this is what I'm talking about. Bringing the TV that close actually aids your peripheral vision. It gives you a little bit of a side
also
look
the
too.
taskbar dude at the bottom. Jack, this ruined everything for me.
Immersion
ruined.
Gone.
There's a taskbar there.
But you see there, he's got Elite Dangerous Game Glass and Star Citizen Game Glass at the same time, ready to go.
Yep.
Trackball and what is that, Orb Weaver?
Yeah, it's an Orb Weaver. The weird thing though is how does he use his how does he rest his arms with
he's a superhuman.
Yeah, he has 4 arms, clearly, this guy. Because how do you rest your arms where the mouse and the Orb Weaver is?
You don't worry about it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to deduct points though for taskbar and ergonomics, I think, as well. But overall, I think Doritos. This is like the cool. No Doritos, no Mountain Doritos. Dew. I mean,
no, it's definitely a solid 8.
Yeah,
it's definitely
for sure.
A solid 8.
I give this a 9. It's insane the amount of buttons you can press.
And don't forget, my scoring today is not.
We're just having.
Don't be a.
Yeah, we're having fun. Next is Noobifier. And all he said was, "Am I doing this right?"
I mean, if he can get it to work on an Xbox.
No, you're not doing this right.
It was confirmed. It's going to be on Xbox.
I will give him 10 out of 10 for cleanliness, though.
Yeah.
He's got the cleanliness
and the white Xbox with the white wall and everything, all the wires hidden.
His TV's not white though, so it'll have to be a 9.5 out of 10.
So I think what this might be is a Photoshop.
Where he photoshopped the game on the TV or something?
Yeah.
No. I can confirm this is Noobifier because he flies. He's the only guy I know that flies the Terrapin. Pretty regularly.
Right. The only way this would have been better is I was going to make a joke picture where I had Star Citizen on like a 10-inch monitor and then something like a 49-inch widescreen had Game Glass on it. Like it's like the opposite of like your MFD is the main screen.
Yeah. This is funny though. I wish I could have read some of the books there and we could have judged on his book selection.
Right.
But yeah.
If you're doing console gaming, that's a 10 out of 10. I like it.
Yeah.
It's good.
But if you're a Star Citizen, this one's rough. The next
Thanks
one.
for the troll picture.
Yeah. They're going to be a little small and tough to see some of them, but they're from Mike Phoenix and they are really cool. So this is Mike's.
That's 2 throttles.
Yeah.
Huh.
Where's the other side of it? Is it taken off?
So it actually looks like a pair of throttles.
Yeah, plus a pair of sticks.
And a pair of joysticks.
What's the stick on the left?
I don't recognize it. It might be a T16000M.
No,
It's difficult to see.
I'll do my
well,
best.
It's the pictures.
Let's
Can
swap.
Can you send me the doc so I can actually see it?
It's not in a doc. That's the problem. I wish I could give it to you to follow. So yeah, these are going to be a little bit smaller and tough to work with. I will do my best. What if I do control and zoom in? Hello, there we go.
Nice.
Okay, that makes a little bit better. So let's go back to his last. Now it's not letting me go back. There we go. All right, let's zoom in on his first. So this is his current setup right here. So he's got...
Oh, no, so that's an MT50. So that's a Virpil MT50 on the left and a Virpil throttle, and then a second Virpil throttle on the right just being used as a button box.
How do you take
just with a screwdriver.
Yeah.
Just remove it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I got to tell you, that's super ballsy. That's baller status because that's a $500 button box. So obviously this person doesn't care about money. And I want you to be my neighbor, and then I'm going to come over and hang out with you.
Yeah. That's pretty sick. Okay. So
that's baller.
Yeah, this is cool. And then the stick on the right is
one sec. One thing so that's a Delta on the right. Yeah. But what's cool is he's used the Virpil desk mount as a chair mount. Again, next level shit. This is so much customization and thought.
Yeah.
I like.
Also, 10 out of 10. He's got the Answer the Call and Torque 17 YouTube channel.
Correct.
Up there.
And $1,000 in throttle is making me feel fizzy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. And so he actually is doing what you did a little bit, and he gave us his progression. So this is what he started with, and I'll have to zoom into each image. I'm sorry.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the start. Okay.
This is the start here.
Yeah.
And I don't know what this thing is in the middle. Is that like a MIDI controller that he added buttons to?
It's probably one of those productivity things just for macro keys.
Yeah. So, and
but
this
it
is
looks
an
like you can take the
Pro.
caps. You can take the caps off and put a piece of paper in so that you can customize it.
Yeah, looks like what he did because they're all they look pretty basic. It's tough with the zoom.
But how many buttons do you need?
I don't know. Oh no! Why can't I go and see more images?
Music pad. Okay.
Weird. I'm having some technical difficulties, boys. But he gave us some more images. Let me see if I can get them. We'll switch to
speaking of taskbar
here.
Ooh.
Yeah, sorry. Let me see if I can get more of his images up, because there should be more than just that. I was saving them before the show. I might even just bring up Discord and we'll take a look at them. But yeah, he showed us his progression, which was pretty cool. Okay, yeah, we're getting progression here. Here we go. Back to this. So we are on the X52 Pro, and then he moves into this, which is that same, and we get a better look at it, and you could tell that he's changed now the paper behind. So he appears to have made his own desk mount, so creativity, 10 out of 10. And now he's using the X56 and has changed, obviously, his buttons there. Pretty cool. Right?
So I like the fact that the buttons are physical.
Yeah.
Right? So the game, this is the thing. You guys remember before Game Glass and all these things, there was Power Grid. It was like made by a company that doesn't exist anymore, and it was updated in like 2012, whatever. It was great until you actually needed to use it, because it looked pretty. When you'd push and you would never feel any kind of haptic feedback or tactile feedback. And if you smudged and you weren't very, very precise with it, the normal keyboard rejection would screw you off, and you'd be like, flare, 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 and you'd get nothing, right? So having physicalized buttons is fantastic. What is that, a laptop?
I don't even know. This
is like a mad doctor.
This is some new thing I've never seen. I don't know what this is, but it is cool looking. Whatever he used for his button.
That's a piece of shit keypad.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Chat's awesome.
Chat's ragging on him a little bit, but what I
Cash
like, I
register.
just like the idea of the progression that we're getting with him, and then there was a few other steps after this, but then he moved into the setup that he has now, which is insane. He actually showed us the making of, but I knew that this episode was going to be long, so I kind of cut down a lot of what he put in there. So, but overall, I thought you guys had some really cool setups. I thought that was a lot of fun. So let us know what you think about that kind of thing, and if you ever want to do something like that in the future again, I think we could. Once again, if you guys do want to get into the Discord and join the show, we have one, two, three callers in line right now. I think that'll probably be okay for today. But if we get a couple more, maybe we'll sneak you guys in pretty quick.
I'm gonna try hard not to blue screen again.
No problem. Yeah, and oh yeah, let's use noobs. We got to show your setup before we move on, right? I forgot.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me. Let me close everything down and bring up Discord so we can show. So I'm just getting Noob set up here so we can see what he's got. Even though, if you are a Noobifier fan, I'm sure you've seen it. But for those of you guys that are new to Noobifier, so standing desk.
Very much so. It's actually funny because just like the other guy had a series of iterations and like this desk is now pretty much at nipple level.
Yep.
Like the surface itself. It's not really a desk anymore. It's more of a monitor stand.
Mm-hmm.
And all that schmutz hanging off of it lets me get the keyboard and mouse and everything at a very, very appropriate level.
Yeah.
I needed to bolt the desk to the wall, obviously, because it's top heavy.
Yeah.
But no, it's fantastic. It's a very good place to make videos. It's a fantastic place, believe it or not, to game. And I don't. Everyone's like, "Oh, standing is stupid," but
no,
it isn't. It isn't really. It's just you have to get the right mat on the ground. So you can see a Stream Deck, and there's a 10-inch, I think, Amazon tablet, and then a throttle, two sticks, and then all this. This is all Monster Tech. This is all the new stuff. So it's good, and it doesn't flex, which is the most important part. If anything, I need to make a beefier desk surface, and that's easy. Well, it's easy compared to the other stuff. Now that the whole frame and everything is done. But no, it let me, the desk mounts let me cut about 1.5 feet off the back of the desk, and then I pushed the desk further back. And that gigantic reflecting surface that was the desk used to affect audio in the room a lot. So there's actually a gap. You can see that the light's actually traveling beyond the desk because there's no desk surface there.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. And then again, trying to optimize everything. You can see the USB hub there, the power supply for the monitors, everything is there. I just need to do a little bit of a wire management, but that's the easy part.
Yeah, and I actually haven't taken a picture of my recent changes to my setup, but they're not quite done yet. So I actually plan on doing a my what my setup looks like video for 2019, and yeah. So
this is kind of a scuzzy picture that the second picture I just gave you there is
let me get it up.
It's not a beauty shot, but it gets the point across.
This one for the
yeah.
Okay.
So this is the other this is the other woman, right? Yeah, and this is basically where I've been focusing a lot of time because I love cars and this is VR. But what I'm doing with this is going to get flight pedals and it's going to be a sit down configuration. And all of this is not because I like wasting my own time, but I always try to be the most informed and I don't like relying on other people's information. So if I want to figure out whether or not there's a valuable difference between standing, like what is better, I'm going to go invest hours of time in flying both to try to figure out. So yeah, that guy there though, my god, it's friends of mine came over yesterday And last weekend, and as soon as people found out this, they show up with like cases of pop and beer. They're like, "Hey, is Brian home?" And like, we're gonna play some VR racing. It's totally fun though. It's definitely a more of a social thing than Star Citizen, because you can only take about 30 minutes in VR and then you have to switch out.
Yeah.
And it's fun to have people like, you know, through. Okay, my Twitch. Who's Brian? Me. I'm Brian.
And yeah, somebody was asking what Noobifier's Twitch is. Noobifier is mainly a YouTuber.
Yeah, you can.
But yeah,
not bother.
Also, last thing would be, how did I get this? I won't be able to get. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to get Selby's image on.
Okay.
Fortunately, but yeah, I think we're gonna move into calls and see what people want to talk about. So, Belatar is first up. Hey, Belatar, what's up, man? You're on Answer the Call with the Noobifier, not just me this time. How you doing?
Hey guys, I'm great.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Hello. Good.
Well, I think I don't actually have a lot to say or to ask. What I would like to say is that just to thank the Noobifier for the content he's doing, because his no bullshit videos and guides on hardware are exactly what I need and look for if I'm making hardware decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want 30-minute YouTube videos where 10 or 15 minutes at the start is self-promotion
Unboxing
and random waffling. So that's exactly what I like and need, and I've actually based my own last decision for a flight stick on that, which is the Whirlpool Delta Constellation, which is actually, it is everything as advertised. My issues are my hands are too small. My thumb is too short, so I'm actually having a little trouble of reaching everything. Yeah, precisely that one, which is actually, I think this is a great idea, which needs a few adjustments, in my opinion. But well, it actually is. It's great quality, and I love that stick a lot. So I'm just thinking of anything useful I could add to the stream, but I thought I could surprise everyone with. I think that may be okay. I just want to advertise and support those few pictures I saw who are using a gamepad on the left hand, because I think that is the superior way of controller to go for. And we are a little screwed as Logitech is not producing the G13 anymore, which is a shame.
Right. The Orb Weaver is there though. The is it Razer?
Yeah.
It's more expensive.
Yeah, I switched to that recently, and it's I'm afraid to say it's over-engineered. So with all the customization options, there's I think 3 axes you can customize that thing. It's more expensive, and the ergonomics are actually worse than those of the G13.
I agree, 100%. I do agree. I tried to get a G13, so with Monster Tech, I was trying to get some. Basically, I was trying to get all of the different possibilities so that I could show them. And I tried to get a G13 and I couldn't. I couldn't even on Amazon. The only one I could get was like $300 on eBay, and I'm like, I'm not going to spend $300 for that. But it's unfortunate for sure.
Yeah, I'm still hoping they're going to pick that up again. But well, that's I think about all. So thank you to Twerk for making this awesome call-in show. Thanks to the Noobifier for making those awesome videos, and I think I'll head out.
All right, man. Thank you for calling. Bye now. All right, and our next caller is IDDKFA. What's up, IDD? How you doing, man?
Yo, what up, my dudes?
What up, dude?
Hello.
How's it going? Is that it? That's all you got?
Nothing, really. So, let me start with everything I'm going to say is completely speculative based on the information I have, and I make assumptions. So, I can be 100% wrong.
I'm assuming we're talking about gimbals here, right?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
Joystick setups. Yeah, of course, Gimbal Assist.
All right. Okay. It's gimbals.
We got him, boys. For me, the introduction of Gimbal Assist is very much tied to some deficiencies with the flight model design. First, I think Gimbal Assist is just a simplified but working ESP.
Okay.
And second, and that's my main issue, is the non-restricted combat speeds. I think the reason why we aren't able to reliably hit targets is because the average combat speed is still too high. And from what I've seen, we will get a marker for recommended combat speed, but you are not bound to it.
Yeah.
So it probably works in consensual combat, but I have the fear that in every other scenario, we will have the same experience we have now. Just for an example, if I fly in a slower ship than the pilot who is engaging me, I don't want to fight, I would just take my chances and throttle to the max, make me hard to hit at those high speeds, and let my shields regen faster than his DPS output.
Mm.
So I think we might need something like a is in combat state. So if you are in combat, like being shot at or hitting someone, I think your max speed should be reduced by X amount %. So your new temporary max speed would be the actual recommended combat speed until you leave the is in combat state, of course.
Yeah.
But doesn't this, may I comment? Doesn't this
Sure.
mean that it becomes skillful then again? Like I know that, for example, I'm going to use Battlefield 4 as an example. I'm flying in an aircraft, and I know that I need to achieve a certain velocity to bank at a faster rate than my enemy. And this is all, yes, there's no more SCM cap where you can just go full throttle and know that you're going to have maximum. Now it's up to me to monitor my velocity and know that specific ship's characteristics to be able to outperform the enemy. Would you not think that that's a good thing?
You're absolutely right. That would be a downside of what I'm trying to do, because what you're going at is repositioning your ship by going at a higher speed and re-engage the combat to your terms, right?
Now, when you say like a combat state, do you mean that you'd like press a button on your ship and then go into like combat mode necessarily, and that's where your engines would be tuned to deliver a certain amount of power and quote unquote speed and stuff like that? I personally don't like that idea. I'd rather more of the freedom of things.
Well,
and
people are going to do that anyways with macros.
yeah, but they'll do it. Like they'll create the state that they would consider,
but not a default boom like
I'm
stealth
in
mode.
combat. Yeah. I think that'd be immersion breaking or just kind of weird for the game. And I don't think, I think a lot of us believe that Star Citizen is more and should be more of a sandbox than anything. And I think that includes the combat as well, is the freedom should be there to do what you would like. And it's up to the people involved to determine what happens. If that's
Yes, of course. You want to give the player as much freedom as possible, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, Noobifier made a great point. Yeah, that would be a big flaw in my design. So you limit your ship's capabilities outside of when you're actually in combat range.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But my issue is when I have the faster ship and you are in a slower ship, and that's how it is, I should be able to combat you. But if we go at such high speeds, I mean, I can catch up, but I don't think we'll be able to reliably hit our targets. So my idea was
and that's the idea of running.
Yeah.
Like if I see you and you're in an M50 and I'm in a Hornet, I may actually slow down because that would give me an advantage. And then it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to die, really, because my shields will outperform your weapons and I'll out DPS you, and I will take you apart in 5 seconds. So again, I do think I know that the idea. So we used to have SCM, and it sounds not. I know that you're not trying to say bring SCM back, but SCM was a cap where you if you were in cruise speed, you weren't doing combat because you couldn't. And you'd have to return to SCM and do dogfighting. And some ships had a higher SCM speed, like the M50, which gives them an advantage in attitude and position. And some ships, like the Hornet, just have armor and range. So I'm not saying that the balance is perfect, but I do think that if you add an arbitrary mode, a combat mode, because technically the ship is in combat mode always. An F-18 is always in combat mode. It just depends on the pilot to know what to do with the aircraft in this position, or in this case, to get an advantage. That becomes skill rather than a mode, right?
Yeah, and someone that people have been bringing this up in the Twitch chat is one of the things would be interdiction. Now we've heard about quantum interdiction, but I can't imagine that there wouldn't be some sort of tool that comes into the universe at some point that would aid a pilot in slowing down a ship that's faster than them. But they would have to, and again, we're speculating a lot here, is they would have to use up a utility mount of some sort, a missile mount, a gun mount,
Even
in order
disruptor.
to do that, So there's still lots of questions, but you got to have the ability to disengage from combat, but you also have to have the ability to engage people that want to disengage from combat, right?
Well, I feel it comes naturally with the different ship speeds. The faster ship should always have the option to either engage combat or disengage, because he's simply faster.
But you don't feel that that's leaning too heavily on the faster ship? Wouldn't everybody just use a fast ship then all the time? Because now they can get out of combat whenever they want, and then can engage combat whenever they want. And then the slower ship is just always at the disadvantage.
But that, I think, is how it should be. How it
Okay.
totally makes sense.
I mean,
so what my fear is, we only will have consensual combat. If even a slower ship can disengage however he likes.
Yeah, I don't know. I
think that the slower ship by default will have an advantage over the faster ship in armor and DPS, and especially now that we're getting into like a less reliance on IFCS and more into a more homogeneous Newtonian state where the ship has a lot of drift and that type of stuff. If you're in an M50 and you're just taking pot shots at me, and I have enough power to just increase the shields in the back so that you're not actually doing anything, kind of like shooting a reclaimer, you're not actually achieving anything, then I basically am able to run away from you, and you're able to overheat your weapons and not achieve anything. I still have the capability to leave. But at the same time, I can also go Newtonian, spin 180, and bring all of my main weapons onto you, and then it's pretty much your choice to leave or die. So again, I think that the game is going to end up with tiers of skill. You're going to get not necessarily weekend warrior and pro, but you're going to get those people that really understand flight mechanics and stuff like that. And everyone will always be concerned that, oh, that person must be cheating because he two-shotted me. But it's not that. It's just that the person knows exactly what weapons and attitude and arrangement to outmaneuver and then out DPS you and kill you. And then there will be the people who literally just want to go from point A to point B. And if that person chooses to attack and not necessarily be skillful, he will eventually come across one person PvP that'll just kill him. And then that in itself is education, right? Don't do that again.
And for someone who wants to take part in the mercantile side of Star Citizen mostly, what escape plan do we ever have with your style of game? Are we never supposed to be able to get away, and we are dead and getting boarded no matter what? Because that's what I see with your design.
That's where an org comes in, though. Like you have multiple people.
And I
right?
agree that
you
we're
never fly.
very off topic right now. I'm seeing someone say that in Twitch chat. So let's finish up this conversation and rein it back into what we've discussed today, if you guys don't mind. Go ahead, Noob. Finish your thought.
I think I'm done.
Okay.
I'm good.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
okay with
a
moving.
weird suggestion that definitely has its flaws, I think. IDD.
Yeah, of course.
But anything else on just Gimbal Assist, or when you play, what do you fly with?
I started flying using hotas.
Which one?
The Thrustmaster Warthog.
Mm-hmm.
And but I changed back to mouse and keyboard. I might end up using mouse and throttle, just the throttle.
Okay.
Because the time they introduced so many first-person game mechanics, I didn't see the use in a joystick anymore, and I don't care much about the immersion.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I specifically use the joystick for the immersion. It just feels good, you know? But, yeah, is there anything else you want to add before we let you go?
No, maybe I see why we need Gimbal Assist right now. But
Okay.
like I said, it's just speculative and an assumption, but I feel Gimbal Assist is just a band-aid for an underlying issue.
Yeah, agree. It seems like a band-aid and not a solution to the problems that have arisen over the years with joysticks versus mouse versus whatever, right? So, all right, I'll let you go, IDD. Thank you so much for your call, man.
All right.
Bye
See
now.
you guys.
And our final caller is CDizzle. Hey, CDizzle, what's up, man? You're on Answer the Call.
Hey, what up, guys?
What's up?
I just had a question for you guys regarding the gimbal, or the gimbaled whatever thing change.
Gimbal Assist?
They're Gimbal Assist. I happen to be of the mind that it's only going to increase the distance between skill of bad pilots to good pilots, as opposed to shorten it.
In the sense that good pilots are now just going to be better?
Yes.
Because they'll miss less?
Not because, no.
Okay.
I think the pilots that don't use Gimbal Assist because they're better will be able to outperform pilots depending on the Gimbal Assist.
Crutch.
See, I
Correct.
feel it's the opposite. I feel like good pilots are still going to use Gimbal Assist because I feel like for the information that we have is that it's so overpowered that why wouldn't you use it? But I mean, Noob gave some valid points as to why my opinion may not be correct.
If I can hit reliably as you with Gimbal Assist, let's say Gimbal Assist isn't perfect, which it can't be perfect or everyone will just default to it.
Yeah.
If I can hit you with 4 times size 3 consistently because of get good or skill or whatever you want to call
you
it,
just win that
by
fight.
knowing, then I will win that fight because I'm going to out DPS you. And yes, your weapons won't overheat as much, but then there's going to be power draw associated with all the systems, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, what I'm saying is I think that the perception is that this is a help to bring the gap together. But I agree with Dizzle that the good pilots will always be good. They will always find the meta. They will always be OP compared to like from the perspective of a person who's trying hard.
Because they put the work in. Yeah.
Right. And that's not OP. That's all games, right?
Yeah.
It's not it'll seem like an aimbot or something, but it's not. I know people
tryhards
that
are always going to be better, man. It's
click,
just,
click, click, bang, 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 hit, and boom. Like it's just the person's that good because the person spent before 2.4. I had like Dizzle can attest to this. I was in Star Citizen Arena Commander every night and just doing nothing but waves or shooting people, and it became second nature. You know, it's just like you're driving in the winter and your car starts to slide. If you've driven enough, you just automatically know to steer in and correct. You don't even break concentration. The conversation doesn't even stop. You know, it's just normal. So I think that I agree with Dizzle that it's not gonna do what most people think it's gonna do, and that's bring that parity down. It's gonna actually emphasize it.
And Montoya made a YouTube video about the Gimbal Assist as well, and I did not agree with most of the statements he made. But the one thing that is really valid is the fact that what it should do, while maybe not bringing that example making the gap smaller, it will possibly increase the enjoyability for that casual player in Star Citizen, because they will actually hit their targets and destroy them and watch them go boom, right?
The NPC ones, yes.
Yeah, exactly. The
Right.
NPC ones and the targets that are relatively around their skill level that they may want to try and take out, right? So obviously, when we come across somebody in Star Citizen, it won't have a little number over their head and say what skill level they are and how good they possibly are. So you'll have to engage and disengage how you like.
Or
But
fly with a pack.
yeah, and
That's another
the
mutually
thing.
assured destruction.
He was really excited about Gimbal Assist, and at first I wondered why, and then when you have the largest org in the game and now nobody can miss, I can kind of see why he might like it. So that's another argument there. Is
and even on the
Zergs,
off
this
chance-
gives Zergs a chance.
And even on the off chance that the Gimbal Assist weapons do become the strongest weapons available, you're going to have the better pilots shooting the same exact guns that always hit that the shitty pilots are using. So it's either way it goes, it's only going to increase the distinction between the good pilots and the bad pilots. It's never going to help the worst pilots. It's not possible.
You still need skill.
Yeah,
You still
you're
need
always going
to
need
put in the time.
That's a really good point, Dizzle. And yeah, I think this is one of our longest shows ever. So I think it'll probably be a good time to stop it there. But before we go, Dizzle, is there anything else? Oh, we have one more caller, actually. He just popped in late, so we'll bring him in. But is there anything we want to add before we bring that caller in, Diz?
No, that was pretty much my whole point. I kept bashing your chat with it a whole bunch, so I'm sorry if you saw me spamming that a whole lot, but
good, man. Spam away.
Figured this would probably be a good time to bring it up, especially with my boy Noob up in here.
Of course. All right,
Dizzle. All
Dizzle.
day, son. Catch you guys later.
Bye, Dizzle. And our final caller is Juntau. What's up, Juntau? What's up, man?
What's going on, gentlemen? How are we today?
How are you?
Hello.
Oh, it's Sunday. It's very exciting.
Yes.
So I'm sorry to artificially extend the length of your cast because apparently you want to get the hell out of here and move on with your life.
No, I didn't see any callers, so I and then you popped in a little late, so I didn't look over to check because it's on a monitor out of my peripherals.
Well, I ninja'd you guys, and it took me a minute to decide to join because you know how intimidating Noobifier is. So
yes, he makes me very uncomfortable all the time.
he should. I understand.
Yeah,
so. If you would indulge me on a couple things really quick, I want to ask a couple questions, and the first one is directly related to the topic of your show, which would be specifically, I guess Noobifier has the most experience with this topic. Is the Constellation Delta worth the investment?
Well, so this is why I did the exposed series. I don't like to jam information down people's throat and say this is. It's my daily driver, and I have choice of all sticks right now. So is that a way
because you're
of
spoiled?
Because I'm spoiled.
Yes.
But if as a person who
don't you hate him?
As a person who has the ability to do all, like I have free reign on choice of them. And if I say that that's my personal daily, that's not invalidating another person's opinion that maybe I'm wrong, which is perfectly acceptable. But as you're asking me specifically, it's my daily, and I'll go get one, and I'll show you why.
Now, this is the only stick in that price point that allows the Z-axis.
Yeah,
is that accurate?
Well, no, because there's now the Warbird grip, which is coming out, also made by Virpil. So this thing here, the lower quarter of that stick is the Z-axis built in, and it's frictionless. It's very, very good. And again, I haven't had an opportunity to test Cosmosema yet, which most reports say are very good as well. So that video is going to come out soon. But one thing that makes me very happy is Virpil is the first who did it, and they've done it twice now. What I'm trying to get Virpil to do is all of their sticks to put a Z, because it doesn't matter if this has a Z in it or not. Yes, it's going to increase the price, but it's already expensive. And if you're going to commit to this, $20 isn't going to make you say, no, I can't buy it.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then you have options, right? So what I most like about this is it's symmetrical. So you can use it left or right. It doesn't matter. That gives you options in the future. Let's say you want to run this and something else, and you only have one, and it's in your right hand, and you say, I want to test something else. You can move it to your left. Now, that's also a detriment to it because then it's not as, it's kind of weird looking, really. But
how's the ergonomics with it?
Ergonomics is fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, it doesn't, a lot of people complain that the buttons are difficult to reach, but they're not. I have small hands and I can reach buttons. This thing here, being a mini stick like an Xbox controller, fantastic. This thing here, this is mining laser or throttle or zoom, right? Fantastic. The only thing it doesn't have is a second trigger, but it does have a double. And then there's this, which you can use for missiles. Tap to lock, push and hold to fire. And then, of course, if you use two of them, you've just doubled everything.
Yeah.
But there's 3 5-ways on this, plus a mini stick, plus a mouse wheel. It's more than enough buttons and settings, plus the Z, plus your, it's just, so inadvertently I've gone on a rant. Yes.
But what, I guess here, I'll ask him a
Race to it.
question to maybe help you better answer his, is what would Juntau, what would make it not worth your value?
Just the overall cost, because 216,000 Ms is obviously the budget way to go if you're going to dual stick. But, I watched all of the exposed videos, and I've been watching Noobifier's content since basically the beginning. And the idea of the way that the base works seems to present a whole hell of a lot more accuracy to it than... the 3D Pro for the money is the way to go, right? If you're on an extreme budget, you can't beat the price for what you get.
And I think it's the best ergonomic stick there is, personally.
But when you're starting to get into high end and you want high precision and stuff like that, then the shit becomes all gray because the price tags are...
They're insane.
Right? I could buy 2 ships.
Yeah.
With LTI.
Right.
I mean, I can...
So 2 big ships.
2 big ships,
right,
exactly. Oh, well, I could have bought a couple cars with the investment in Star Citizen, so that's kind of irrelevant. But just wondering, the build quality looks good. So do you think the dollar investment is worth it? Because I think it's about 400 plus USD per side.
It obviously comes down to what you're going to do with it. Like if my
I'm going
wife
to try not to die, dude. Come on.
So scuba gear, let's say my wife and I are going to go buy scuba gear. And we're going to use it once a year, then that's not a good value, right? We're going to spend $4,000 on all this stuff and it's going to sit in the garage. That's great. If you're going to buy a $10,000 camera and you're going to use it every day, then it's value, right? Or if you're going to use it for work. So it's a peculiar question that you ask me. If you wanted to try to keep the budget down, don't get a throttle. For example, you could get away with 2 sticks and nothing more. Save yourself the $400 or $500 for the throttle, because that's a luxury. I think I'm going to use
the 2 sticks plus the throttle setup either.
So if I'm going to do like something like a running cargo, and then I have a hotas, right? A standard throttle, set it and forget it, and it's more casual, or think of it more like an auto cruise. But the thing is, they were also adding that. So again, I don't know what the value of the throttle is. I can tell you the double stick is going to be a thing for sure.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we have the ability now to apply velocity and then release and maintain that throttle or that velocity, then the actual merit of the throttle itself is diminished. So you can get away with getting 2 sticks. Either VKB or Virpil are both valid propositions. They're both like one's a little bit more expensive, one's a little, it really comes down to whether or not you like cheese on your cheeseburger. Right? They're both good. The quality's there, the reliability's there, the customer service, one is better than the other, and I might make a video about that. But but the Delta is still my daily, and it's not just because I'm a shill for Virpil. This is what I want to fly with.
Anytime you choose something that you enjoy, people and you're a content creator, they're going to call you a shill.
And that's fine. It's part of the thing. I don't take it personally,
Let me ask you this, right? Yeah. Because we've all seen the imagery of your amazing monster tech desk setup, and it's really pretty cool. It seems really ergonomic and stuff. What do you think if you had to buy all of that stuff? Have you done the math?
Oh yeah, it's nuts. It's ridiculous.
Are we talking like $5,000?
No. So like I was saying, if you wanted to do this and didn't want the throttle, then you could get rid of one full mount and a $400 or $500 throttle. So you'd have the two bases and the two sticks. So you said yourself they're about $450 for a stick and gimbal.
I'm
right?
thinking, yeah.
So call it $1,000 shipped and everything, and then the two joystick mounts are about 100. We'll call them $100 each because you need the base associated with it. So then you're up to 1,200, and then the keyboard thing that I have isn't necessary, but it's
but
another.
it works. It fits right. Instead of having it on top of the desk, it makes sense to have it in between your sticks.
So add 100 for that, and then the little mouse thingy is another $50. So it's not 5,000 by any stretch. It's a deliberate investment. But just like I said before, if you use it every day, if you play Star Citizen more than twice a week, and it's for 4 or 5 hours a sitting, then yes, it's totally worth it, because you're going to get, as you use it, it becomes less of a cost, right? It's a joke. It doesn't change the price, but the value becomes better because you get satisfaction and use out of it.
Okay.
So we will kind of call it a video here. So thank you, Noobifier. Thank you, Juntau, as well, for popping on, and everybody else that's called, shared your setups, discussed auto gimbal with us. This was a more of an all over the place podcast than we've had before.
Even CDizzle.
Yeah, even CDizzle. And Juntau, I'm gonna pop you out of the call. So have a good one. Thanks.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for watching. Noob, before we let you go, where can people find you? What do you have coming in the future?
So you can find me in about 3 hours on the podcast, which is going to be awesome.
The Redacted podcast has actually changed times
today
and days, so it's going to be on today.
And I know you told people, but it's really good because it moves us until immediately after the news happens instead of just before we get new news. So that's fantastic. You can find me on YouTube, please. I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well. I try to diversify and give you guys heads up, make it valuable to be on Twitter and anything that comes to mind and stuff like that. Please, I'm open to the idea. If you want to contact me and send me information or ideas on things that you'd like to have discussed, that's good. I may already be thinking about it, but I may just triage how soon that arrives. And thank you very much, Twerk, for having me. This is always fun. And we get off topic and it goes crazy. And I'm sorry for that. It's like 2 hours.
It's all good, man. Yeah, normally our hour show will be 2 hours, but I kind of know that when you're here. So it's much different when it's just me and when it's another guest. So obviously now that doubles the discussion, so I knew it was going to be a little bit longer. So thank you so much everybody for watching. Noob, I'll let you go. We'll switch over here. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And so as always, if you guys like this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more Answer the Calls. Check out the Answer the Call podcast playlist, because there's some videos on there that were relevant to the discussion today that you guys might want to check out as well. And make sure you check out Noobifier. And there will be another video, because I'm going to have to edit this a little bit, where we got a bit off topic with Juntau from the base. And we're talking a little bit about Death of a Spaceman, and I'll post that up in a separate video. I'll kind of edit that out and make that into something separate. So keep an eye out for that, guys. But all right, everybody. And if you do want to take part live in the show, Sundays, 10 a.m. Eastern time is the start time, and you can pop on to twitch.tv/Torque17 and join our Discord at discord.gg/Torque17 and join the show live and take part in it. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was something very different. And I will see you guys all in the next video. All right. Bye, everybody.